Welcome to Wrestling with Snipes. Today, we'll be looking back at the Full Gear Extravaganza pay-per-view. But before we look at the pay-per-view, there was a pre-show 0 Hour. 0 Hour kicked off with a one-on-one contest with Deonna Purrazzo, accompanied by Taya Valkyrie against Anna Jay. As the match begins, Taya distracts Anna Jay and Purrazzo takes advantage, locks in a headlock. Anna then hits a flipping neckbreaker but only gets a 2 count. Anna goes to the top but Taya grabs her ankles and then Deonna boots Anna Jay in the face. This must be a no DQ match to the ref, but he hasn't let anyone else in on it. Anna then hits a neckbreaker on the ropes, but Taya pulls her off the apron to the outside and hits her with a spear right in front of the referee. Still no disqualification called, but this time the ref throws Taya out of the arena. Then off the distraction, Anna rolls Purrazzo up. 1, 2, 3. Anna Jay picks up the dub on 0 Hour. Then the final contest on the 0 Hour pre-show is QT Marshall one-on-one with Big Boom AJ, who they lock up to begin, and QT hits a quick arm drag on the Costco guy. QT then takes a headlock but is pushed off, and QT is hit with a power slam for a 2 count. QT then dives over the top rope, but instead of hitting the Big Boom, he takes out his own crew. Big Boom then throws AJ back into the ring, but as he's getting into the ring, QT hits him with a big boot. QT then follows up with a drop kick. As he's showboating, he turns around and Big Boom hits him with a belly-to-belly suplex. Then Big Boom climbs to the top and hits a flying clothesline from the top rope. Then AJ hits QT with a superplex from the top rope. Aaron Solo pops out to distract the ref, but it backfires as Big Justice gets in the ring and hits QT with a big spear. Then the Big Boom hits the big power boom. 1, 2, 3. Big Boom AJ picks up the victory on 0 Hour. Then we move into the Full Gear pay-per-view. The opening contest is a 4-way match for the tag team champions, with the champions Private Party defending against the Outrunners, the Acclaimed, and the House of Black. The match begins with Mark Quinn and Malachi Black. Black goes for a spinning back kick, but Quinn ducks it. Brody King then hits Bowen with a superplex, followed by Black hitting the double stomp from the top rope. Then Black hits a moonsault from the second rope to the outside, taking out about 5 guys. Back in the ring, Private Party hits stereo 450s on each member of the Outrunners, but only gets a 2 count. Caster then goes to the top, but Quinn leaps up and hits a hurricanrana into a cutter. The Gin and Juice. 1, 2, 3. Private Party retain the tag team championships. And the next contest was a one-on-one match with Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF, against Roderick Strong. The bell rings and MJF rolls to the outside and grabs a microphone. He says, "Shut up, you pores. Oh my. You and Roddy are all white trash. I've been making millions of dollars shooting movies. Meanwhile, Roddy, your mama has been shooting your daddy. Oh my." MJF gloats and Roderick Strong sneaks up from behind him and hits him with a chop that sounds like a gunshot. Then MJF powerbombs Roderick Strong on the apron. They get back into the ring and MJF gets on the second rope and mocks Adam Cole, baby. But Roderick Strong grabs him and hits a backbreaker. Then Strong hits the end of Heartache. 1, 2. MJF gets his foot on the bottom rope. Strong then goes for a suplex, but MJF reverses it into a brainbuster. Both men are down and the people are loving it. Strong then drapes his arm over MJF to cover him, but MJF reverses it into an armbar. Roderick Strong taps out and Maxwell Jacob Friedman picks up the W. MJF then grabs a chair. He goes to put Roderick Strong's arm in the chair and then he stomps on it. We may have a broken arm, and out comes Adam Cole, which means MJF takes off through the crowd. The next contest is for the TBS Championship as the champion Mercedes Monae defends against Chris Statlander. No Camille tonight. Statlander picks up Monae by the throat and tosses her into the corner. Statlander then presses Monae over her head and throws her to the ground. Then they battle to the apron and Monae hits a hurricanrana from the apron onto the floor. Then Monae follows it up and hits the Meteora from the apron to the floor. Monae then throws Chris into the steel steps and then runs and rams her knees into Chris's head into the steel steps. Chris makes it back into the ring before the 10 count. Statlander then hits a German suplex followed by a discus lariat, but only gets a 2 count. Monae then leaps off the top, but Chris catches Monae and hits her with an F5. Here comes the pain. 1, 2, Monae kicks out. Statlander then goes for a 450, but nobody's home. Monae then takes advantage, hits the Cazadora, then rolls up Statlander. 1, 2, 3. Mercedes Monae retains the TBS Championship. The next match is Adam Hangman Page against Jay White the Switchblade. The match begins with a lockup with Adam Page pushing White back into the corner. White then grabs a headlock. Hangman pushes him and hits a back body drop. Then Hangman hits a fall-away slam, throwing the Switchblade into the corner. Then Hangman hits a fall-away slam off the top rope. Oh my. Page goes to the top again, but Jay White meets him at the very top and he hits a superplex. Jay White then hits a German suplex with a bridge for a 2 count. They battle back and forth, and then Hangman hits a Deadeye followed by a second Deadeye, but only gets a 2 count. Page then puts Jay White in the ankle lock, but Jay reverses it into a Blade Runner. 1, 2, 3. Jay White picks up the victory and wins the rematch. Next up, we've got a banger where Will Osprey goes one-on-one with Kyle Fletcher with Don Callis. They charge each other at the beginning and then start trading right hands. Osprey hits a Hurricanrana and Fletcher rolls to the outside of the ring. Fletcher then throws Will into the barricade. Fletcher hits a brainbuster on the outside of the ring. They get back in the ring and Kyle Fletcher kicks Osprey in the chest multiple times. Then Will hits a sky twisting moonsault to the outside of the ring. Osprey also hits a spinning powerbomb, but only for a 2 count. Then Osprey hits the Styles Clash in the middle of the ring. 1, 2, Fletcher kicks out. Then they battle out to the apron and Fletcher reverses Osprey, has him in a tombstone position and leaps off the apron onto the steel steps and hits a tombstone. Oh my, what a maneuver. Fletcher tosses Osprey back in the ring, plants him in the corner and hits a running boot into Osprey's face. Fletcher then puts Osprey on the second turnbuckle. He goes up to the second turnbuckle, meets him, and Fletcher hits a brainbuster onto the turnbuckle and Osprey is out cold. 1, 2, 3. Kyle Fletcher picks up the victory. Next, out comes Mina Shirakawa for the Champagne Championship celebration. Mina says, "Please welcome my friend, my partner, and the love of my life, the AEW Women's Champion, Mariah May." Out comes Mariah May and she gives Mina a big hug. May says, "We finally did it. This is the celebration I've always deserved." Then they whip out the champagne and they sip on it. Mina starts dancing and Mariah May grabs a champagne bottle. Looks like she's gonna hit Mina with it, but Mina ducks it. Mina then kicks the bottle out of May's hand. May then spits on Mina, and Mina spears May off the stage through a table. Oh my. Looks like we've got a big rivalry coming between Mina and Mariah. And the next contest was for the International Championship as the champion Takeshita defended against Ricochet. They both lock up to start the match and Ricochet gets him in an armbar. Ricochet then gets twisted up in the ropes and Takeshita hits him with a big boot, dropping Ricochet to the outside of the ring. Ricochet then gets backdropped on the barricade. Takeshita runs at Ricochet but misses and eats a big boot and falls to the outside. Ricochet leaps over the top rope, taking out Takeshita on the outside. Ricochet hits a springboard 450 but only gets a 2 count. Takeshita then reverses Ricochet into a blue thunderbomb for a 2 count. Ricochet goes to the top, but Takeshita pushes his feet from underneath him. He hits Ricochet with a big knee to the back of the head. Takeshita then hits a Michinoku bomb from the second rope. 1, 2, 3. Takeshita retains the International Championship. And it was time for a grudge match with Swerve Strickland one-on-one with the almighty Bobby Lashley. Bobby hits a clothesline on Swerve to start the match. Bobby then hits an aggressive body slam. Then Lashley hits a standing vertical suplex. Bobby then hits a running power slam. In the beginning, it's all Bobby Lashley. Swerve battles back and MVP then distracts Swerve. Then Bobby knocks him off the apron to the outside. Benjamin then trips Swerve and the ref sees it, so he tosses Benjamin out from ringside. Swerve hits Bobby with a DDT on the apron. Swerve then hits a massive Swerve drop on Lashley through the announce table. They get back in the ring and Swerve hits a house call. Doesn't go for a pinfall but goes to the top rope and he hits the Swerve stomp. 1, 2, Bobby kicks out. Lashley then rolls to the outside of the ring and Swerve goes after him, but Lashley grabs him and hits a belly-to-belly overhead throw. Then Lashley spears Swerve through the barricade. Bobby throws Swerve back in the ring and he hits Swerve with another spear. Then Lashley locks in the Hurt Lock. Swerve goes out cold and Bobby Lashley is victorious. Then it was time for the main event of the evening for the World Heavyweight Championship as the defending champion Jon Moxley defends against freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy. The match starts off with Cassidy hitting 3 Superman punches, knocking Mox to the outside of the ring. Then Cassidy hits a suicide dive. Cassidy is then thrown into the steps and he is busted wide open. Cassidy jumps off the top rope and hits Mox with a DDT. Cassidy then hits a Superman punch followed by another Superman punch. Then Claudio and Pac show up. Then the conglomeration come out to even up the odds and Rocky Romero leaps from the top rope taking out everyone. Willow then shows up and takes out Shafir who has the briefcase. Cassidy then picks up the case and hits Mox with the case. 1, 2, Mox kicks out before the 3 count. Then out of nowhere, Wheeler Yuta shows up and gets in the ring and knees Orange Cassidy. Mox then hits the Death Rider. 1, 2, 3. And still AEW World Champion Jon Moxley. Then out of nowhere, Hegman shows up and hits Wheeler Yuta with a chair. Mox and Hegman stare at each other, and then out of nowhere, Christian shows up and hits the kill switch. Hangman passes Christian the contract to challenge for the world title anytime he wants, but out of nowhere Jay White shows up and hits Christian with the Blade Runner. There is no cash in tonight.